Hi, and welcome to Catholic Crafty Kids. So this week we are celebrating the Feast of Corpus Christi, or the Solemnity of the Body and Blood of Christ. So we talk about, in the Old Testament reading, we hear about sacrifices, and in the New Testament, we're hearing about the Last Supper, which is when Jesus actually used himself as a sacrifice that kind of was in accordance with what the Jewish traditions were. So he offered himself up as the sacrifice rather than an animal or something that would typically be done in a setting like that in Jewish tradition. So what we're going to do today is we're actually going to make what we call a monstrance, okay? So a representation of a monstrance. And this is a great opportunity to take the kids to see a monstrance, take them to adoration, that kind of a thing, once they understand what's going on there and the sacrifice and the things that are going on, so that they can just spend some quiet time thinking about what Jesus did for us and how that affects their lives. So what we do is we're just starting with one single piece of paper. So I have yellow paper, and so the trick here is you start out with a regular piece of paper. If you fold it diagonally, like so, here I did it this way, I think. So you will find that you have a perfect square then, okay? And then what you'll have is you'll have an extra bit on the end that you can just cut off, and actually you can use that to make the stem of your monstrance. So fold it in half. Okay, so it started out I did a little bit ahead of time here. So before it started out, it was this little piece here that was on the end of the full piece of paper. And if you fold it in half, then you can kind of make a design on it. So what you're looking for, and the reason I did it fold it in half is because I wanted it to be symmetrical. So you kind of start out with a wide bit at the bottom, and then you can kind of add some little knobs and things as you cut all the way up, and then again a little bit wider at the top, so that when you unfold it, then it looks like the stem of a monstrance. Now, if you've got little kids, this next part might be a little tough, so you might need to help them with that. But the other thing that you can do too, I don't know if everybody's ever seen those paper doilies. They're kind of round in the middle and they have kind of a lace around the edge. You can also use one of those that's really simple for small kids, and they could just color it yellow with a marker or paint it yellow. That would work as well. But this is kind of more along the snowflake theme. So once we've got our square, we want to fold it in half, okay? And then we want to get thirds. So what we're aiming for is we could try to fold one edge over, and we're looking for about 60 degrees here. So we want to get it to where we can fold it so that they all, like this one comes to the middle here, then as we fold along that, it comes and hits here. So we're looking for 60 degrees. Now, if your kids are a little older, this might be where you stop with younger kids, just because it's hard to cut as the paper gets thicker. So here what you would do then is you would just even it, just kind of cut it off, even it, make a little round here, and then start your project. And I'll show you how to do the snowflake part in just a bit. If you have older kids though, it's nice if you can fold it one more time, because what that will give you is 12 equal parts. 12 is one of those numbers that shows up quite a lot, especially at the Last Supper where all the disciples were there. So once you've got your folds made, then what's easy to do is just kind of cut it across so that it starts out pretty even, okay? And then any design that you make will replicate itself as you go along through the whole process here. So what you want to do, one thing you can kind of try to do is some clever stuff. Cutting the corners off gives you cool designs. You can do a little notch here and there. Try to make things the way you want them. All right. You don't want to do anything in the center, which is unusual. With the snowflake, you usually want to do something in the center, but in this case you don't, because that's where your host is going to sit. So let's see if we can get real clever here and work on something kind of biblical here. And I'm just doing this on the fly, so I hope it turns out, but if it doesn't, well, you know, that's the crafting way. You kind of go with what you get. All right, and then see if we can go down a little bit. And let's see. This may or may not turn out because they're not quite all lined up here, but we'll do our best, as we do. So what I'm going for here is trying to get a little bit of a cross shape on the edge of each of these here. Okay, So I think I'll stop there, and then we'll just add some more embellishments here. So these little notches, if you kind of make a triangle notch, you'll get a diamond when it's done. If you want to try making a square notch, you'll get a rectangle. So just kind of play with it, take the corners off, that kind of thing. And just whatever strikes your fancy. Like I said, just don't get too close to the center because you want that intact when it's time to have your host placed in there. So, like I said, you can even make something round to make a circle happen later. All right, so when you're done cutting, then you want to open it up. And as I said, the way we folded it, there, you should have 12 equal bits, and so it kind of looks like a monstrance. And I try to get a little bit of a cross shape going here. You can trim these up a little bit if they didn't quite turn out. Like I said, it's kind of thick, so if your kids are small or it's you know, difficult for them, just do the thirds and then you'll get 6 equal bits around the thing. But 12 is really nice, like I said, because of the 12 disciples. And then you just attach that to the top of your stem. And then once you're done with that, if you want to, and again, this is one of those crafts where you can go as nutty as you want to, whatever you've got around the house. If you've got some shiny things, little jewels or sequins or, you know, shiny pipe cleaners, whatever, you can kind of add some decorations to this, like you would see gems on a regular monstrance. Probably not the eyeball. Okay, so yeah, whatever you've got laying around, you can kind of, you know, place those around and decorate your monstrance a little further if you want to, or this is a great place to stop too. And if you want it to lay flatter, you can kind of glue it onto another piece of paper. All right, and then you can add your host in the middle. And as I said, talk to your kids about adoration, take them to adoration, and talk about the monstrance and its significance and what Jesus gave for us on this Feast of Corpus Christi. Have a great week.